Hello, invisible audience! Today, I want to make something out of clay. I've been seeing these on TikTok, I've been seeing these on Pinterest, I've been seeing these on the internet for months now, and I want to make one. I know it's not original, but gosh, I just want a little mushroom jar. So I'm gonna make a little mushroom jar. So the first thing that we're gonna do is get some clay, I'm gonna roll it out, wrap it around this little jar that I have, make sure that that's all smooth and neat on there, and then I'm gonna go in and just kind of give it a little bit of grooves. Just gonna use this little embossing tool that I have from the dollar store and just carve in some little like mushroomy grooves. This is gonna be the stem of the mushroom, the jar part. I've got some thicker lines, and then I go in with the sharper point to add some thinner lines. And then once that is done, I'm gonna start working on the lid. I'm just gonna take the lid, just gonna shove a bunch of clay on top of it, and just kind of keep squishing it until it looks like a mushroom. Which was surprisingly time consuming. This video is sped up. I think it took me a couple hours, not including bake time, altogether to throw this together. Just my afternoon and evening after work was spent making this, so it's not like a huge project. I thought it was gonna take like a huge amount of time, but it actually came together pretty quickly. And you'll see me every so often making sure that I can still get the lid on and readjusting how the mushroom looks and kind of fanning it out and squishing it and giving it some texture. And I think I do come back in and give it a little bit more clay, make it a little bit taller. The stem of the mushroom seemed really thick because that's the jar that I have, and I didn't want to use so much clay on the lid to make it like extremely top heavy, so I didn't end up making the lid as big as it was in my head. I think in my brain it was a little bit more grandiose, but I think it still turned out really cute. I'm gonna carve in a little bit more of those grooves on the bottom part of the mushroom cap to give it those gills underneath, and then we're just gonna attach some little spots. It's gonna be one of those classic spotty mushrooms that are super dangerous and poisonous that you're not supposed to eat, but like aesthetically are just beautiful. You're just gonna drop on just some little spots. And the way that I'm doing these spots, I'm just rolling little balls in my fingers and then just pressing them flat against the mushroom cap. And then it's time to bake. Once that was all baked and cooled and dried, I'm just gonna go and give it a little bit of a sand to smooth out any rough edges from like carving things, to smooth out any fingerprints that I left on the mushroom. Just a nice healthy sanding. It also helps the paint stick to it a little bit better, or at least that's the case with some materials. I think clay is porous enough that you don't have to sand it, but it doesn't hurt. Plus, like, there were so many fingerprints and like little notches and things that I kind of wanted to sand a little bit smoother. And then once that's all done, it's time to paint. What I'm doing for paint is for the base, instead of just painting it straight white, I've added a little bit of gold to it to give it a little bit more of a creamy color, but also like a little bit of shimmer, make it look a little bit magical. And so like that's gonna be my base coat. And I'm gonna cover the entire stem of the mushroom with that, and then I'm gonna go back in and add details once that's dry. And then I'm also going to paint the underside of the cap with that gold white mixture as well. At this point it doesn't actually look like I've added any paint to it, but I promise there is a faint shimmer from the gold edition and it's there. So now we're going to add a little bit more detail. I've created just kind of like a really watered down brown that I'm just kind of using as a wash, hoping that that sticks mostly in the little grooves of the mushroom, make the texture pop a little bit, and then I'm going to go in, add a little bit more around the edges, give it kind of, you know, that mushroomy look. And then I'm going to take some more of that gold, but mix it with a brown this time, and just kind of do a little like dry brush to some of the edges to give it like a little bit more detail. And you're gonna see me fuss with the browns, like putting it on, wiping it off, just kind of trying to get the right amount that I'm looking for. And then I'm gonna do pretty much the exact same thing to the underside of the mushroom cap to give that like a matching color, to look like it is part of the same mushroom. So some watered down brown, and then kind of wipe it off, and then go in with some gold brown to give it a little bit of like a magic weathering, I guess, like a magical weathering. Which, yeah, that's what I'm here for. And then we're gonna let those dry. And then once those are dry, we're gonna go in and I'm just gonna base coat the entirety of the top of the mushroom, just using a red. I do actually go in and do a second coat of this off camera, just to save my battery. So once that is all dry and painted, I'm gonna go back in with that same gold-white mixture, and I'm just gonna try to cover the dots. I'm not being incredibly precious. If I get a little bit of white outside of the dots, that's okay, because I'm gonna make it look a little bit messy later anyway. But just giving the dots a little bit of cover, making sure they pop, trying to get the sides if I can. And then just give it a good like flick of paint. And then I'm going to go in and touch up some of the white spots with a little bit of that gold brown edging a little bit to give it some magical weathering is what I've decided I'm going to be calling it now, forever. We're going to do that along the edge of the mushroom cap as well, where the colors meet, sort of blend them together. And that's it. I really love how this turned out. I've been seeing them on the internet and I really wanted one, and I'm so happy that I made one. It's so cute. I haven't decided what I'm gonna keep in it yet, but what a good jar! So like autumnal and cozy. Ugh. Thanks, internet. And thank you for watching. Bye! Pachoo, pachoo, pachoo!